Democrats are anti-whites. Liberalism is anti-whitism. Go free.
Wait, what is anti-white? What was the beginning part? I didn't hear it.
Democrats.
Pause for a moment. This happens twice on this stream. She immediately accepts anti-white. No hesitation. This young woman here is total Big Con Inc. created. She might be a great host. Hostess. She might have content creator. She might have made it on her own. I don't know. Without Big Con Inc. But nonetheless, they love her. She's at the PragerU. They're giving it up for the PragerU, which means Israel and all of this sort of nonsense. But she's over there. She hears anti-white, and she just accepts it immediately. What about the white guy? Look at his face in the background. What about he needs to be rescued, doesn't he? I'm gonna have like a big heart for this guy. I'm not just going to mock. I'm not just going to mock and ridicule. No, I'm going to say we need to help him. He is so white guilted. If he's white, is he white? Does anybody know? Is the co-host white or is he Jewish? If he's not Jewish, if he's not white, if he's Jewish, then we're going to help him come away from anti-whitism. If he's white, we're going to help him come away from anti-whitism and white guilt. You're going to see. Look at his face here. He's incredulous. Like, oh my God, I just said something so naughty. Oh, I just pissed my desk chair. I just pissed it. No, I'm just busting your balls a little bit. Don't get upset. Don't get further upset. Get yourself some Desitin. We can help you. All right? Let's hear what she has to say. Franklin, remember, Franklin made this happen.
Democrats are white, and liberalism is anti-white.
What was the beginning part?
Is anti-whitism. Go free.
Wait, what is
anti-white and anti-whitism? I love it.
Anti-white? What was the beginning part? I didn't hear it.
Democrats are white, and liberalism is anti-whitism.
It's at least leftism. Woke leftism certainly is starting to feel more and more like that. I always try to.
I love it. Now, remember what we've said here before. When you talk with somebody, if they say, like, she's obviously going to be like wokeism, leftism, etc., progressivism, you can just toss anti-white in at the beginning. This anti-white wokeism, and then you just drop wokeism as you continue to talk. It's just anti-whiteism. So she says, oh, it's really beginning to feel that way. That's because she's young, right? And remember, we've talked about this here a lot. When it's always like, it's just starting for them. They're like, oh, it was fine up until 3 years ago. It was fine up until 6 years ago. No, it wasn't fine. That's just when you were so wet behind the ears that finally it's dried up and you're looking at the world and you're like, whoa, it's really bad out here. Okay? So she says, it's always been that way. That's all it is. Oh, these are just different names that anti-whites take for their anti-white ideology, anti-whiteism. But she ceded to Franklin what is obvious. It's obvious, didn't she? You see the power of the lexicon? This community is full of people who can actually see the power of the lexicon. And then there are new folks, and we welcome you. We love you. This is a very different place. You are going to find a home here. You're going to find powers in yourself you never thought existed before. You're going to find a way to defeat the anti-whites. It's a glorious thing. Stick around. But then there are people who have been here, some of them even for a long time, who have been here, and they don't really get the power of the lexicon and the dialectics that we use. They kind of perfunctorily do it just to kind of fit in, I think. But you can see, once again, how many proofs do you need? She immediately accepted it. But listen.
Make the distinction. Certainly is
anti-whitism.
It's at least leftism. Woke leftism certainly is starting to feel more and more like that. I always try to make the distinction.
Yeah, and then but if you're playing those identities,
she always tries to make the distinction. Like she's saying sometimes, because it is possible to have views that people inside the anti-white narrative would call leftist views. They're hemming themselves with that, but it is possible we could take all of the possible views and just put them on a document in front of us about the issues that people normally invest time and thought into as socio-political views. And we can put them all on a piece of paper, and people who are going free agree with all of them, as long as it's not anti-white. So there are views, there are socio-political positions that in that spectrum, in that anti-white narrative, would be considered left-wing views that are not anti-white, that can be viewed and applied in service to white well-being as anathema or antagonist to anti-whiteism. All right. This young lady, she says, well, I try to make the distinction between typical leftist views and those anti-white views. Oh, we love it. Let me just sit back. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know how many years I've spent looking for you champions. I've been here putting together the formula in this tall tower, empowering us, building my white sorcery for the world. And I've been blowing the silver trumpets so that people like Franklin would appear. And he did, because he had the ears to hear. And he has come, and he found the door to be open to him because he could solve the riddle. And he ascended the staircases with all their traps and snares because he had it within him to be a champion of the West. And here he has climbed, and he has made his way into this community, into this live chat, and he has perfectly seeded some of the 5 key concepts. This is all you have to do, ladies and gentlemen, to win. Don't talk about how bad other races are. That's white negative. It's ugly. It's ugly. We got warts too. They got warts. We got warts. Don't do that. Don't talk about it. It doesn't do you any good. You look awful because you are awful when you're doing that. No, don't condemn a whole group of people because of the way they were born. No, don't do that because you look awful and you are awful when you do that. No, instead you do this and we win. Instead you do this. There'll be statues to Franklin. I will make sure of it. And then you have this young lady here over at PragerU, where to get her to say the things that they want her to say, they have to pay millions and millions of dollars, and we pay $0. That is power.
The politics game.
Woke leftism certainly is starting to feel more and more like that. I always try to make the distinction.
Yeah, and then but if you're playing those identity politics games, then you're just, falling to their level. So
you just falling to their
anyways.
level. You just fell to their level. If you play their identity game. Let's go back and hear this again. How many times have you heard this? Now, I want this guy to get better. I mean, just take a look at this. Just take a look at this guy. The soy is strong within him. The power of soy is strong within him. I want him to get better. I want to pull the plug on the soy and let it all run out of this guy. How many times have you heard white sympathetic people, this is implicit ones, from patriot circles and conservative circles and the like, how many times have you heard them say, you can't defend where they attack because then you're just no better than them? How many times? Do we have the MC that I use for that in Go Free 2nd edition iteration 2? Because if it's not, it's going to have to be in the 3rd edition. Is it in the current edition? You do not. Virtue is not given to everyone, because if you give your virtue, and in this case we're saying we don't behave in ignoble ways. If you give your virtue to everyone, it makes you no better than a whore spreading your legs to everyone. You only behave honorably with the honorable, because the ignoble will slit your throat. So we are not your basic bitch, conservative content creator type, patriot content creator type. Oh no. This is right there one of the most insidious, maybe even the most insidious of notions, meme pathogens in the conservative lexicon. You don't want to lower yourself to what they do. If they're punching you in the face, it's immoral to punch in the face. And so if they're punching you in the face, if you block your face from being hit, well, then you're no better than they are, because the rules say that you shouldn't be punching at the face. You shouldn't have anything to do with the face. So just double down on protecting your abdomen, because then you're doing the right thing. As they knock all your teeth out, break your jaw, break your nose, break your eye orbits, and you go blind. You defend where the anti-whites attack. And that is on the basis of our race. Why do you have to defend there? Because they bring the anti-white moral imperative to every debate. And that's how they win every debate. Because morality, their anti-white morality, which is forced on us by the anti-white oligarchs, morality defeats laws, it defeats codes, it defeats norms, it defeats data. It's defeated all of those things, all of your life, all of Pat Buchanan's life, all of these big content creators that you all know. And yet they still keep on the same track, the same path of failure and idiocy. When they attack us on the basis of our race, you say so, because then you bring our concepts to bear, our moral imperative, a new moral imperative that trumps theirs, which exposes what they are doing and then forces them to defend it. It's so clear. I stood for so long over the cauldron up in the tower, just stirring and stirring, hocus pocus, so that we could cast this white magic to defeat this dark sorcery that has defeated the West. No need to keep wondering. No need to keep going out and I'll try a little bit, like it's a buffet of content creators. I'll try a little bit of this and I'll try a little bit of that. No need to do that anymore, because you have found the solution.